2, a crisp, crystal clear, perfect day in downtown St. Louis and to the Fox Saturday baseball game of the week, the Houston Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals. And now welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Joe Buck. That is Tim McCarver. It's our 14th year covering Major League Baseball on Fox. It's our 14th year together.
It seems like it, too.
It seems longer. Let's talk about this game. We come out of the gate with a great matchup in the NL Central. Beautiful day and a great pitching matchup. Really the two aces of each side. You talk about Adam Wainwright for the St. Louis Cardinals and Roy Oswalt for the Houston Astros.
Not only two great pitchers opposing one another one-on-one, but two great position players, too. The first baseman for both clubs, last year's MVP, Albert Pujols for the Cardinals, and one of the more unappreciated or underappreciated guys in Lance Berkman of the Houston Astros.
He's got plenty of gum. He's ready to go. Glad you're with us. Baseball next. Welcome back to the Fox Saturday Baseball Game of the Week presented by DirecTV. Follow your favorite MLB team no matter where you live with DirecTV. It is a great day in downtown St. Louis, and right down the street they brew this. We ask you to reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the Great American Lager. And now a look at the lineup put together by Cecil Cooper, and here it is for the Houston Astros. It's brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Kaz Matsui leads it off. He's the switch hitting second baseman. And Hunter Pence in right. Lance Berkman hits third. Carlos Lee cleans up. Miguel Tejada, the shortstop. Jeff Blum batting sixth. Ivan Rodriguez Pudge does the catching. Michael Bourne is hitting eighth, and Roy Oswalt is pitching and batting ninth. Did I go too fast for our graphics department? As it funnels down to Ivan Rodriguez. It's our first day out of the gate, so see if you can spot the flaws as you follow along with us in your home across Middle America and the Southwest. Here comes Roy Oswalt. He is going to take a seat in the dugout and watch his counterpart Adam Wainwright go to work. The right-hander makes his second start of the season, and you look at his numbers last year when he was slowed by an injury to a finger on his pitching hand. No decision on Monday, the opener against the Pirates, and here is the Sprint pitcher profile for the right-hander Adam Wainwright.
Not a lot of flaws in his approach, Joe. That killer curveball from a guy who's 6'7". It seems like it topples from a high-rise building. He's perfect against the Astros. Also 5-0 lifetime with a minuscule ERA.
One thing he hasn't been so far this season, and you talk about not just the first start but spring training as well, is perfect with his control. The walks have piled up. He has yet to go 6 innings at any point here in 09. Didn't do it in spring training, did not do it on Monday against Pittsburgh, and he starts Matsui with a ball outside.
5 walks in 5 1/3 innings on Monday.
So again, it's Matsui, Hunter Pence, and then Lance Berkman here in the first inning for the Astros. Ball and a strike. Houston starts this game 1-3. Last night the Cardinals won the opener of this 3-game set 5-3 behind Joel Pinheiro, beating Mike Hampton. Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Cardinals split their 4-game series with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and then winning last night they're 3-2. On 2-1, Wainwright deals. It's over but low. 3 balls and a strike. Here are the numbers, and within those numbers he had a complete game win against Houston last April. 12 games and that record of 5-0. And Matsui slaps it down the left field line. It is into the seats, out of play, strike 2.
I think the one thing that the guys hitting early in the order can do, if they run into a pitcher who's having control problems, you can take 2-0, you can take 3-1. I do not think that was a time to be swinging against a guy who walked 5 in 5 1/3 innings his last time out.
It's really something that the Astros struggled with last year, finding a leadoff hitter and getting somebody in that top spot in the order that can get on base. A 3-2. Line drive, base hit into left, and a good start for Houston as Matsui adds to his .250 average and is on to start this day. Hunter Pence will step in. So Matsui in his second year with the Houston Astros gives way to one of the guys that's dragging down the overall team average age. This is an old roster for the Houston Astros. In fact, the oldest in Major League Baseball. They start the season with an average age of just under 33 years old. But this guy is 25. Hunter Pence hit 25 home runs last year, and he takes a ball inside from Wainwright.
Baseball can find some names, can't they? Hunter Pence. His counterpart today, Colby Rasmus. Gotta love it.
Pujols holds against Matsui. And the 1-0 is a tailing fastball for a strike. Berkman is next, and then Carlos Lee. There's no doubt that in this Houston lineup there is plenty of experience that comes with the age, and there are guys that can produce up and down this lineup, and there's nobody better for Cecil Cooper than the guy we just showed you, Lance Berkman. Big hole on the right side of the infield. Runner goes. Molina's throw is in time, one away. Matsui caught stealing for the first out here this afternoon.
What a throw by Molina on a short hop. Right on the money, and a nice tag by Skip Schumacher, who's trying to make that transition from an outfielder to a second baseman. Very, very difficult to do. And it looked like Matsui was in there. Looked like the tag came on the left hip, and the foot was on the bag when the tag was made.
So one out, bases empty, and a 2-1 count on Hunter Pence. Up the middle, a base hit. So 2 hits, but it's 1 on 1 out for Houston with Berkman coming up, and we go back to the stolen base attempt by Matsui.
Schumacher in front of the bag, and he misses the left leg. Finally makes the tag on the left hip, and it looked to me like the left foot was in there, but the Cardinals got the call.
It's the little things that I think you take for granted when you're watching Major League Baseball that are going to be the tests for Skip Schumacher at second base.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. I mean, covering second base on a steal.
Yeah.
You don't really even think about it, but it's something that Schumacher, who's been an outfielder in his pro career, is having to get used to, let alone turning a double play, which in this case, on a ball hit to the left side of the infield where he has to go to the bag with his back to the runner, going from first to second can be an unsettling feel for anybody, let alone somebody who's been far away from home plate out in the outfield. 1-0 the count on Lance Berkman, and now 2-0.
So much tougher going from the outfield to the infield as an everyday player. It sounds reasonable. As Schumacher last night, what was his most difficult move around second base? He said all of them.
Wainwright behind another hitter and now finds the strike zone. 2-1. He said after the game, you know, I'm in the lineup to hit. I'm not in the lineup to play second base. He's trying to get by playing second base. He was a .300 hitter a year ago. Led the big leagues in average against right-handed pitching. That's why they're trying to force him into the second base position. Here's a 2-1. High, 3-1 with Carlos Lee on deck.
That reminds me of a comment the great Dick Allen, who played first base, the most valuable player for the White Sox in 1972. They asked Dick how he played first base. He said, swing the bat. And that's how Skip's playing second right now, is swinging the bat.
Check on the runner, and Pence dives back in. Schumacher played some collegiately on the infield, but it was on the other side of the infield and at the shortstop position. Trying to learn this spot at the big league level with all eyes on you cannot be easy. 3-1 pitch. That's outside, and now a walk follows 2 hits, a man out stealing, and it's 2 on 1 out. So Wainwright is right back into his pitching pattern, which he's seen too much of here at the start of '09, and again it includes spring training, and that is throwing a lot of pitches, falling behind hitters, and issuing walks. He walked 5 in that Monday start against the Pirates, and now has to deal with Carlos Lee. One of the most productive right-handed batters in any lineup in the league. Strike one. Here's a guy who had 100 RBIs last year in just 115 games, and then he went down with a broken finger in early August. But he can hit, and when there are guys on base, his eyes light up. 0-1 pitch from Adam Wainwright. Breaking ball stays up and in. Looking consecutive seasons with 90 or more RBIs in the active streak. Rodriguez, A-Rod with 11, Pujols, and then Carlos Lee.
You were a Spanish minor at the University of Indiana and know that caballo means horse, and
Yes.
this is some horse as a hitter.
Yes.
El caballo.
Thanks for the introduction, the preamble. Everybody in Indiana's going, what? He went here? I was there for a while. 2 on 1 out, and the 1-1. Down and away, 2-1, and Wainwright has been behind the hitter consistently here in the first inning.
Been behind all 4 hitters. You can get by occasionally, but don't make a habit of it.
And not against this type lineup.
No.
With a guy at the plate and that guy on deck. Lee was tied up. He went, and it's 2-2.
That is a killer strike for the Astros. Instead of 3-1, it's now 2-2. Big difference.
Runners on at first and second, 1 out, and a 2-2 count on Carlos Lee. Breaking ball is hit hard but foul past third base coach Dave Clark. This was a big night in St. Louis last night. It's early in the season, so the game-to-game results for the Cardinals or the Astros not as important as what happened down the street with the St. Louis Blues qualifying for the playoffs in the NHL. Here's a broken bat, ground ball, tough play, bare hand pickup by Thurston. 2 out. Good play by Joe Thurston. Pretty much a career minor leaguer, but getting a chance to play because of the injury to Troy Gloss.
Yeah, Thurston does not barehand that ball. I don't think he gets Carlos Lee, who is not a fast runner at first base. Cardinals have had 2 good defensive plays in this inning. The throw by Molina and now the play by Thurston.
And that's what I think makes the Skip Schumacher experiment at second base all the more intriguing, because this is a pitching staff that's taught by Dave Duncan to pitch to contact and to use the infield defense and use the guys around the pitcher. No doubt Wainwright was helped there by Thurston, as that one's blocked in the dirt by Molina. Molina finally won his first Gold Glove a year ago. He's been deserving certainly the last couple of years. One ball, no strikes. Astros trying to jump out in front here in the first inning. 2 hits, a walk. The ground out by Lee, and now Tejada. And strike one. Miguel Tejada is a former AL MVP back in '02. 5-time All-Star, and Adam Wainwright had him chase that one down and away. Second and third, 2 out, and that one's too tight. 2 balls and a strike. Infield, outfield, deep and straight away, and a 2-1 pitch from Wainwright is hit in the air, right side, foul ball. Pujols a long run, cannot get there. 2 rows back into the seats, and the count 2-2. So it has been a long first inning pitch wise. which early in the year obviously does not work well for a pitcher trying to pitch deep into a ball game. Dave Duncan, who has been with Tony La Russa since 1983, in the corner of the dugout, watching every pitch out of the hand of Adam Wainwright. 2-2. Tejada goes after a pitch down and away, strikes out, and the defense for St. Louis helps Wainwright in the first. His catcher Molina got the first out with his arm. Good play by Thurston on a barehanded pickup. And the strikeout, no score after a half. The old courthouse in the distance at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. No score after a half inning. Astros missed a chance to jump out in front for Roy Oswalt. Here's the starting lineup for St. Louis. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. Skip Schumacher leads it off. Colby Rasmus batting second. Albert Pujols hits third. Chris Duncan cleans up. Rick Ankiel, Yadier Molina, Joe Thurston at third. Brendan Ryan is the shortstop for Tony La Russa, and Adam Wainwright, pretty good hitting pitcher, bats ninth, which is not always a given with La Russa. He likes to change it up and have his pitcher hit eighth, which he's done already this season. And here is Roy Oswalt, for my money, one of the best in the game, and the numbers would certainly back up that claim, as he has been the best since coming to the big leagues back in 01 with regard to victories. And the first pitch, ball one outside.
129 wins for Oswalt since 2001. He did lose the opener for the Astros, but you're exactly right. Pound for pound, this guy's as good as it gets.
Not a big guy, 6 feet tall, but just 185 pounds, and against Schumacher to ground out to start the day. Here's the sprint pitcher profile for Roy Oswalt.
Yeah, you wonder with that frail frame how he can continue to be a power pitcher, but that's the way he has been since he came into the game, and as you said, Joe, he is among the best.
I think for the Astros, there's no doubt that they have an ace. A lot of teams that still search for an ace. Here is the rookie Colby Rasmus, takes the ball up and away. The question for the Astros will be, how do they back up this veteran lineup and this #1 starter in Oswalt with the rest of their rotation? They have some good arms in their bullpen. They seem to have all the pieces except a lot of question marks. Cecil Cooper with the back end. Last night it was Mike Hampton. They'll be counting on Russ Ortiz, who's back and was out of the game for almost 2 full years. So who knows what they will get. They can pretty much count on a solid season from number 44. 2-0 is the count on Rasmus. 2-1. Colby is a former first-round pick for the Cardinals, and he has been the stud in waiting in the organization, and the wait is over here in 2009. Last year had an injury-riddled season, did not really produce at AAA, hit only .251, but he's a big power guy, can run, and will play all 3 outfield positions here in 2009, eventually the center fielder. 3 balls and a strike from Roy Oswalt. And it's a walk with 1 out, with Pujols coming up. So where do you start with Albert Pujols? You can start with his start so far this season, hitting .412. But the career numbers that he is piling up, you begin to realize stack up with some of the best starts to a career in the history of Major League Baseball. Kind of the Mount Rushmore of the game, and he's right there with him.
There is no question about it. He gets over 30 home runs and over 100 RBIs this year. He will tie Lou Gehrig for 9 straight years. Lou Gehrig, come on.
He's already tied with Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
By the way, any wonder as to why the Yankees were so good back in the 20s and 30s? That's a .300 average, 30+ home runs, 100 or more RBIs, and he's done it in 8 straight years. And a good breaking ball from Oswalt makes it 0-2.
Doesn't matter how many years you have excelled, you're not going to hit that pitch.
All spread out at the plate, not much of a stride. Pujols takes down and away. Good pitch from Oswalt, an 0-2 delivery, and Pujols wouldn't go after it.
Joe, that's why he handles off-speed pitches so well. He doesn't stride, so therefore, you know, there's no real way to fool him. Now, does he get fooled occasionally? Obviously he does. But he really cuts down on that by not striding and taking that.
Here's one down the left field line into the corner. It is foul, just foul. And Pujols shows you some of his plate coverage as he rockets this one about 8 feet foul.
Yeah, with 2 strikes, protecting the plate. And again, it's a real pitcher's pitch. There's some guys that just zero in on certain pitchers, and Pujols is like that against Oswalt.
Albert still gets some tingling in his fingers. He had surgery over the offseason on his right elbow. It's something that eventually he thinks he's going to have the ligament replaced. Which would basically be Tommy John surgery, but he had a cleanup in there. He still has bone spurs in that right elbow, but he says he's feeling pretty good. And Oswalt is bothered by Rasmus over at first.
I think if Oswalt faces Pujols 3 or 4 times today, you can bet he's going to knock him down once or maybe twice.
There you go. Well, Karnak, you're 1 for 1 here in 09.
Well, I mean, the way Pujols hits Oswalt, and you've got to push him back off the plate. There's no way. I mean, you saw how comfortable he was with that fastball that he drilled down the left field line, just foul on the pitch before that. But Oswalt is a guy, and I mean, with the likes of Bob Gibson pitching here for so many years, I think National League pitchers have learned you got to pitch inside.
Hard hit, line drive, out at third. Rasmus wandered too far, and the inning is over. The throw by Blum, the double play 5-3, and that's the way Oswalt gets around the 1-out walk to Rasmus. We go to the second in St. Louis, no score. Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. And sponsored by Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. And by Cadway. First pitch is a strike to Jeff Blum. Jeff Blum holds a place near and dear both our hearts, Jim. Not because of who he did it for or who he did it against. It's ironic that he plays now for the Houston Astros, because you and I were completely out of things to talk about by the 14th inning of Game 3 of the World Series when the Astros took on the Chicago White Sox.
And then Jeff ended that with a home run in the top of the 14th. A series won by the White Sox. They beat the Astros 4 in a row, but what a great year that was for Houston. Their first time in the World Series.
Tremendous NLCS against the St. Louis Cardinals. What a good combination they had in their bullpen as Pujols keeps the glove on the ground, gets to the bag, and that's out number 1 as Blum is now 5 for 11 to start the year. Home plate umpire is Jerry Crawford. First base is Tom Hallion. Second base Phil Cuzzi, and Ed Hickox is over at third base. 1 out, nobody on for Ivan Rodriguez, who was basically auditioning for teams during the World Baseball Classic, playing for Puerto Rico, playing for Jose Oquendo, the third base coach for the St. Louis Cardinals. And he looked like he could still play. He can still play, and the Astros signed him, and here he is, the everyday catcher for Houston. Breaking ball for a strike from Adam Wainwright. There's a reason why Houston had to try and find some help at the position, because of the production they got out of that spot last year. And Ivan not so sure about that strike call. The count's 0-2. You look at what the catchers did last year in their major league ranks with the bat in their hands. 28th in RBIs, on base percentage down last in average, hit just .201. And you're going from that to a guy who no doubt is getting on in years, but a 14-time All-Star, a 13-time Gold Glove Award winner, and the most hits by any quote-unquote catcher in the history of the game.
2,609 hits.
And now how many?
2610.
1 on 1 out as he hits a rocket past Thurston at third base. So Pudge is on, and here is Michael Bourne. Bourne's on base percentage continues to stay low. It did last year, and that's the reason why a guy who can absolutely fly is not in the leadoff spot. Off to a good start here in 09, however, as he takes a ball.
That's such a sensible move by Ed Wade, the general manager of the Astros, to make a move for Ivan Rodriguez, because not only are you improving your offense, but you're getting the reputation of in my opinion, the best throwing catcher in the history of the game behind the plate. So you gain offensively and defensively.
He was the 03 NLCS MVP for the Marlins, and we were there and watched what he did on a night-in, night-out basis for Florida that year when they won the World Series over the Yankees. He was the leader of that group, guided a very young pitching staff with names like Beckett and Pavano through that postseason. And now the Astros have that experience behind the plate. Strike 2 on Michael Bourne with the pitcher Oswalt next. There you go. There's the career resume for Ivan Rodriguez. No doubt a future Hall of Famer. And a breaking ball misses from Wainwright. Wanted the call, didn't get it. Bourne stays up there, 2-2. Tony La Russa is in his 14th season in the Cardinal dugout. And he and his Redbirds have had a great run since he signed on.
What a career. 31 years as the manager of 3 organizations and has been fired once.
Time called, granted by the home plate umpire before a 2-2 pitch.
And that firing by Ken Harrelson when he was the general manager of the Chicago White Sox in 1986. Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the White Sox, said that was the worst move he's ever made as a professional sports owner.
That's ball 3. Yeah, it's a firing with an asterisk because Tony and Jerry Reinsdorf were still very good friends to this day.
Right.
Consecutive seasons managing all time. He's 3rd on that list, and he's 3rd on the all-time wins list. There goes Rodriguez, and Bourne pops it up. Foul and out of play. Adam Wainwright was the guy who put Tony La Russa in to exclusive company with Sparky Anderson to win a world championship in each league. Wainwright was the guy on the mound who threw the last pitch in the 06 World Series with a strikeout to end that World Series against Detroit.
Striking out Brandon Inge of the Detroit Tigers. And that was after striking out Carlos Beltran of the Mets on that 2-2 curveball at Shea Stadium.
Rodriguez stutter start and then ended up taking off, and the count stays 3-2. Back in time we go. There's Cliff Floyd, and now here's the pitch to Beltran. That ended the NLCS. That was game 7. This was game 5 of the World Series. And the strikeout of Brandon Inge. And the World Series championship for St. Louis. Runner goes. 3-2 pitch is high, and it's the second walk of this ball game for Adam Wainwright. 2 on with 1 out, and Oswalt will step to the plate. Already 42 pitches thrown by Wainwright, and he has 1 out in the second. And there are the career numbers for Oswalt. A 161 hitter, and Rodriguez can still run. He's a lead runner at second base. You don't have to worry about Michael Bourne at first and his foot speed. The world expects a bunt. Instead, it's ball 1, down and away.
Look at Skip Schumacher. We talked about his first year as a second baseman. You know you should be at first base, and when you're that inexperienced, you may take off too early. Guy who can handle the bat, and Oswalt's not bad at doing that. Can fake the bunt and use the middle part of the field and trickle one through there and help his own cause.
On the first pitch, the Cardinals, and the way the corner infielders were charging, they were daring Oswalt to pull back and take a hack.
Yeah, that's right. So one thing, if you're the defense right now, you want 1 out. You don't care whether it's at first or at third. You don't take a chance at third. Get the 1 out.
Bunt back to Wainwright, and he will take the out at first. Schumacher covering. Second and third, 2 out, and a good bunt by Roy Oswalt. So the sacrifice is good. Second and third, and Matsui can, with a base hit, give the Astros a 2-0 lead. So Oswalt, you don't win 129 games without being able to help yourself handle the bat, get a bunt down, get a key base hit every once in a while, as Oswalt has done. 31-year-old right-hander, and he sets up Matsui, who has 2 RBIs on the young season. 2 out there for him now, and a breaking ball is high. Ball 1. And now a strike. 1-1.
This is the second time in 2 innings that the Astros have had runners on at second and third and 2 out, and both times Wainwright has opted to go into the stretch. I think his curveball's better from the windup. I would encourage him to wind up in these situations.
Good delivery there, down and in, strike 2.
Another curveball. Generally speaking, a pitcher's curveball is better when he winds up as opposed to the stretch, and Wainwright is no exception to that.
One ball, 2 strikes. Matsui checks his swing on a pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Kaz Matsui played for Seibu in Japan from '95 through '03, and then tried to make it with the Mets. That experiment didn't go so well. When he went there, they moved pretty good shortstop over to second base, Mr. Reyes, and the experiment kind of fizzled after that. Matsui grounds one to the right side. Pujols will flip, and the Astros miss another scoring chance. They left 2 on in the first, do the same in the second. Bottom of the second, no score. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV, is sponsored by Budweiser. Reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. We move into the second inning, bottom half here in St. Louis, and Roy Oswalt, who got around a walk in the first inning, deals with Chris Duncan first up, and a good fastball for a strike. 94 miles per hour. It'll be Duncan, then Rick Ankiel, then Yadier Molina for St. Louis. Trying to win their 3rd in a row. That's ball 1. Breaking ball from Oswalt has Chris Duncan flinching. That's strike 2. Chris last year had a cervical disc issue in his neck, and over the offseason had a titanium prosthetic put in that disc area, which was a pretty radical surgery. Hadn't been done for a pro athlete, and he has felt great from the start of spring training through today. Time for a DirecTV game break. Follow your favorite baseball team no matter where you live with DirecTV. That's Ryan Doman of the Pittsburgh Pirates hitting a 9th inning grand slam to make it 9-1. 10-2 is the final. Doman went deep for the slam off Mike Lincoln. 10-2, and Pittsburgh gets the victory. And for the Pirates, they're now 3-2, and Cincinnati off to a 1-3 start. For more information, you can log on to foxsports.com about that game and anything else your heart desires in the sports world. Click on and enjoy. Ball 1 to Rick Ankiel.
Two teams in the National League Central who lack a left-hander as a starter. One is the Cardinals, the other the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati with 161 starts by right-handed pitching last year. The Cardinals had 160 by right-handers.
I think if there's a division in baseball where you might be able to get away with that, you start to think about the NL Central, it might be the division, because
yeah,
you think about, okay, Houston's got the switch hitter Berkman, no doubt, huge threat as a left-handed batter, but you've got Lee Tejada, right-handed batter. Chicago is a predominantly right-handed hitting lineup. Cincinnati no longer has Dunn. Ankiel strikes out, and that's the first of the day for Roy Oswalt. And then that Pittsburgh team, we showed you that highlight. They were here for the first 4 games of the season. Got a chance to see a lot of them. They are a much improved team.
Yeah.
And I think the arrow is definitely pointing up for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
John Russell, their manager, has done a fine job over there, and I would agree with that. Pittsburgh, a much better club than they were last year.
Ground ball to the shortstop. Tejada could roll it over there if he wants. Lance Berkman is coming up for the Houston Astros. He will bat second in the 3rd. No score. Back to St. Louis after a word from your local Fox station.
Your baseball on Fox.
Welcome back to Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV. Follow your favorite MLB team no matter where you live with DirecTV. It will be Hunter Pence, and that was Hunter Pence, and that is Brendan Ryan, and that's an infield base hit. Leadoff man is on for Houston, and Adam Wainwright right back into trouble. He is stranded 4, and Brendan Ryan did all he could.
You think of Hunter Pence as a fine young power hitter, and he's certainly that. He had 25 home runs a couple of years ago, but he also can run well, and he had 37 infield hits, 4th in the major leagues last year. Great combination, young player with speed and power.
Yeah, and that's the combination Steve Horn, our editorial consultant, has talked about over the years. That rare combination, no matter the sport, of power and speed. Doesn't matter if you're talking about the NBA, NFL, NHL, golf.
Well, now
Kenny Perry, he's got a sub 5:40 time. Here comes a 1-0 pitch to Lance Berkman. It's a strike over the outside corner, a ball and a strike.
Here's a guy who may lack speed, but he doesn't lack power, and he doesn't lack contact. Talk about a terrific hitter, and talked about it in the opening. Really one of the more underrated players in the game today.
Goes after that, strike 2. I talked to Sean Berry, the hitting coach for the Houston Astros. He's done a great job with this team, and he said, you know, the only difference that he sees between Berkman and Pujols is the ability to command the strike zone. And he said Berkman sometimes will chase pitches he shouldn't chase. Pujols doesn't do that. But he said other than that, you know, you're talking about a rare athlete, a gifted hitter, a switch hitter whose numbers after a 10-year start in the big leagues, are right there, comparatively speaking, with Mickey Mantle of all players.
That is staggering. That is really a revelation.
And he goes after that pitch, strikes out, the ball in the dirt, and down to second is Hunter Pence.
I mean, when you can, as anybody who's ever played the game, now look at the numbers. A 307, one of the great, that's through his first 10 seasons. Berkman 302, hit a fewer home runs, but drove in more runs. I mean, when somebody can compare you to Mickey Mantle, how great is that?
Yeah, the RBIs go in favor of Berkman, the home runs go in favor of Mantle, and the average is basically the same.
Yeah, and you know, Mantle broke in when he was 19. Berkman was 23 out of Rice University. Berkman, as we said, does not have the speed that Mantle possessed. He's a good defensive first baseman, but Mantle was in a more demanding defensive position of center field and in a tougher market in New York, of course. But I mean, even to be over a decade, to be compared with Mickey Mantle is one of the highest praises that you can have as a switch hitter.
Here's a 2-0. It's high and tight to Carlos Lee, 3-0. And here are the numbers again, just to give you a better idea, and you can see the numbers a little better. 307 average, 320 in the home runs, the RBIs 935, 961 RBIs for Berkman, the average about the same, and the home runs a few less. Here's a 3-0 to Lee, not swinging, 3-1. Carlos had his first home run and RBI here last night, a solo shot. Made it a 5-3 game. That's how it ended. Miguel Tejada on deck. Another chance for the Astros. And a full count. To go back to what we were saying with Sean Berry in regard to Lance Berkman going after pitches that he shouldn't. He struck out on what was a wild pitch. On the record of Adam Wainwright that moved Hunter Pence down to second base. He's there with one out. A 3-2 count on Carlos Lee. And a foul straight back.
Lee has missed some pitches in his 2 at-bats against Wainwright. Adam getting away with a hanging breaking ball there. He's been dancing through the raindrops on this dry April afternoon here in St. Louis.
Yeah, he's been dodging them for sure.
Right.
Here's another 3-2 pitch to Carlos Lee. And another foul ball. When do we get to do our picks? When do we get to show our picks to the world?
Anytime you want.
Our picks at the start of 09.
Yeah.
1, which are irrelevant. 2, which will never be revisited. Can't wait to see who you picked.
Well, it's an appropriate time to pick things because we just finished the brackets of the NCAA finals.
That's true.
Ended with North Carolina as the national champions.
Here's a 3-2, and that's foul. A little battle here going on between Lee and Wainwright. Did you make picks? Don't spoil it, but did you make picks that they're big market teams, or are they? Are we talking, you know, like let's crawl out on a limb kind of picks?
That's real television right there when you pick the big market teams.
Take the 4 highest payrolls. Here's a 3-2 and a walk. A good at bat by Carlos Lee, and another walk issued by Adam Wainwright, his 3rd. Here you go. World. Take us through, Tim. What was your thinking behind the Mets and the Cubs?
Mets, Cubs, that's pretty easy to pick those teams. You could have picked Philadelphia, however. I think the real surprise team, the Dodgers, are probably clearer maybe than the Mets or the Cubs. But the Marlins, in my opinion, and not because they're 4-0. I did this on Tuesday of this week, so I'm not a front runner.
Do you have any verification of that?
No, I don't.
The only undefeated team in baseball, the Florida Marlins. Tim picks them. 2 on, 1 out. Tejada takes ball 1 inside.
But in the junior circuit, I think the Red Sox have the deepest pitching. I don't think the Yankees are going to make the postseason for the second year in a row. I think the Rays answered all those questions about whether they were for real last year over and over and over again, and eventually lost to the Phillies in the World Series.
Here's a 1-0. Tejada shoots one into left field. Back is Duncan. He has plenty of time. Tejada just got under it. And that's the second out of the inning. Big full swing by Miguel Tejada, but he just got under it, and the ballpark held it easily.
Yeah, Miguel does not have the power that he once did, and realizes that he missed a pitch that 10 years ago he would have handled with more aplomb.
Wow. Aplomb.
Well,
here in 09, April 11th. Here's Blum, and there's a rocket foul. Tejada, by the way, between 2000 and 2006, averaged 29 home runs a year. He's averaged 16 over the last two, and I think most people thought once he went to Houston and played with that short left field porch, the Crawford boxes, that he would just go off. And really, while the numbers are good, they're not staggering.
Yeah, the problem is he doesn't pull the ball with the same power he used to have. It's the thing that the park is smaller, but he does not have the power he once had. Astros continue to threaten against Adam Wainwright, but they've yet to cross the plate.
Here they are again with 2 on, 2 out, and a 1-1 now to Blum. That's foul and strike 2. Big crowd here on a late Saturday afternoon. Local 3:10 start. Cardinals will head to Arizona and then Chicago this next week, and they will be featured on the Fox Saturday Game of the Week next Saturday. Breaking ball goes around the plate. Ball will 2-2-2.
Fox Baseball Saturday carries us to New York next week. Cleveland Indians at the new house that George built.
And a pitch barely missed outside. 3-2. The runners will go. I was gonna see how you finish that. Who built that? We
I didn't know how I was going to finish it. I should say George and the taxpayers in New York State.
The house that Yes built. Here go the runners on 3-2, and Blum hits another foul.
Yes, the television network of the New York Yankees, Yankees Entertainment Sports.
Lee will trot back to first. Hunter Pence has been at second base for about half an hour. Into shallow center field, and Keel coming on, and on the dead sprint has it to end the inning. Tim's word of the week: aplomb, a noun. Imperturbable self-possession, poise, or assurance. No score after 2.5. Oswalt back to work, and Joe Thurston, the third baseman, will step to the plate. Thurston will be followed by Brendan Ryan and then Adam Wainwright. Somehow this game is still scoreless, as the Astros have stranded 2 in each inning, 6 on the game, and they've had hits and walks and you name it, a wild pitch mixed in, but no runs, in the count 0-2. On 0-2, Thurston reaches out, gets another base hit. What a start for Joe, longtime minor leaguer, now 5 for 10 with the Cardinals. We talked with Cecil Cooper, manager of the Astros, during the break, and I talked to him about the luxury of writing down Oswalt's name in the lineup and that he knows what to do.
Yeah, he definitely does. I always tell him he's the best pitcher on the planet, and today he looks like he's pretty sharp, and we need him to really kind of lock them down today so we can get a chance to put some runs on the board.
And really, I guess your rotation for you as a manager, you know you got this guy, and then after him, you've got some question marks, I would guess, going through 09 that you have to answer.
Well, we've got a young guy, a left-hander. Wandy Rodriguez is really our #2 guy right now. And we feel pretty good about Wandy in that slot. He has the ability just needs to continue to grow as a pitcher and mature. And he had a great start, his first start. So we're looking for him to come out tomorrow and pitch well for us. And then we have some veterans after that. We're going to go with Brian Moeller, who's in another 3 slot. And then Mike Hampton, who pitched last night. And then obviously we've got our 5th guy is a guy named Russ Ortiz, who's been very successful at this level, although he hasn't pitched in the last couple of years.
In a word, do your hitters and players know how good of a hitter you were in your day?
I think they do, but I think they feel like that was back in the old times, and you know, it's a different era, you know.
Coop, thanks for your time.
Okay, guys, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Coop. Well, Cecil has watched the first 2 reach, bottom of the order, getting the first 2 hits for St. Louis here today. You look at the numbers for Cecil Cooper, who was part of a Milwaukee Brewers team that played St. Louis in the '82 World Series. And for the Cardinals, when they won it in 2006, last time they had won the World Series was back in 1982 against Harvey's Wallbangers of the Milwaukee Brewers.
I was so glad you asked Coop that question about his prowess as a hitter. Boy, he could rake. Wainwright up there to bunt? Probably.
And a good bunt back to Oswalt. Play is at first, 1 out. And just to finish on Cecil Cooper for a quick second, that '82 season, he hit .313, hit 32 home runs. Played first base. They could just pound as a team. Harvey Keene's group. What a good World Series that was. And now Skip Schumacher stands in with 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. And if you're the Astros, you're saying, are you going to tell me that we've threatened this entire game, put runners on left and right, can't push anything across? And the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for St. Louis are going to present this scoring chance for Schumacher. That's what's going on. And there's a ball down and in. Skip grounded out his first time up, and for Schumacher, who hit .340 against right-handed pitching last year, best average in baseball against righties, he could put St. Louis on top. The 1-0. He does put St. Louis on top. Ground ball to short. Tejada gets the out. Thurston scores, and the Cardinals on the board here in the 3rd.
Second RBI of the young season for Schumacher. And Cecil Cooper forced to play the infield back in the early innings. Scoreless ball game. It is hard to believe after all the base runners the Astros have had that the Cardinals take the lead and strike first.
Here is Colby Rasmus. Walked his first time up, then was doubled off on a line drive. That's a fair ball, and out is Rasmus. Bunting for whatever reason.
Yeah, that's a bad play.
And Jerry Crawford now is talking to Pujols. Let's see. This ball came up. Did it hit the catcher Rodriguez and then go into fair territory? I think is what the Cardinals are arguing. Let's take another look.
Well, Rodriguez realizing, watch him push the ball fair. He's realizing if it's a fair ball, Rasmus isn't running.
End of the inning. 1-0 St. Louis. Ivan Rodriguez, who made that heads-up play to end the 3rd inning, leads it off and fouls it out of play off to the right. Singled his first time up, was stranded, one of 6 runners stranded. 1-0 Cardinals on an infield ground out by Skip Schumacher. That's a bit high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Joe, the reason that was such a good play is your original responsibility is to catch the ball as a catcher. Secondarily, to block the ball if it's in the dirt.
That's down the right field line. A foul ball and out of play.
And then you see a rare 2-out bunt with a runner in scoring position. So all of a sudden you have to, all your energies are focused on the on the infield. So you have to, you're forced to keep the ball play. That was not the play. That was a sacrifice. That was the play to end the inning with Colby Rasmus as the hitter. That's the one we were talking about.
1-2 strikes, reaching for it and grounding to short. Brendan Ryan to his left. 1 out. And as we said, first of all, it's not a good play by Colby Rasmus.
No.
He's not up there to bunt in that spot with 2 out. He's up there to drive in a run, and he's a guy who's been a run producer and has to prove himself at the big league level. But the impressive part was Rodriguez not letting this go foul.
I mean, just to realize how quick your feet have to be, and Rasmus has got to run hard, but he thought the ball was foul. But I mean, to have as quick a feet as Rodriguez has at his age after catching all those years is just remarkable. Still spring in his legs, and he shows it one more time.
Frustrated with the ground out. And that pitch is upstairs. A ball and a strike on Michael Bourne, who walked his first time up. A tailing pitch stays inside. 2-1 on deck is Oswalt. And now ball 3. So continually falling behind hitters is Wainwright. He's walked 3. He's allowed 4 hits. He's up to 80 pitches already, and we're just starting the 4th. Here's a 3-1. Full count, and I like Michael Bourne in that case taking the strike.
Absolutely. Don't help a guy out.
Look at the pitch count. You'd be hard pressed to be convinced that the Cardinals were leading this game with a comparison between Wainwright and Oswalt. Bourne is out to put out 1-3. Oswalt coming up. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV is sponsored by Valspar Paint. Valspar, the beauty goes on. By One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of Major League Baseball, specially formulated to support prostate health. And by Sprint, only on the Now Network. Two out, nobody on. 4th inning, top half, 1-0 St. Louis. And here is Oswalt, who dropped down a good bunt for sacrifice his first time and takes ball 1 high. For St. Louis in the 4th inning, heart of the order will bat. That's ball 2, 2-0. I don't know if La Russa is questioning Molina or the home plate umpire. I think it might have been Molina.
I think maybe telling Yadier to slow things down a little bit. I think.
Well, we're going to interview him during the break.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. We'll find out.
Over the glove of Wainwright to the second baseman Schumacher, and the inning is over. Albert Pujols coming up. He will lead it off for St. Louis in the bottom of the 4th inning. 1-0 Cardinals over Houston. We slide into the bottom of the 4th inning. 3, 4, and 5 hitters for St. Louis. Pujols, Duncan, and Keel against Roy Oswalt. 1-0 St. Louis for Albert Pujols, who lined into a double play his first time up. And a strike. Good breaking ball from Oswalt. 1-1. Talked about some of the stats for Pujols. One of them that jumped out to me that were provided by Stats Inc. had to do with what he has accomplished since 1940. The number 2 overall average in baseball at .335 and the number 1 slugging percentage at .624.
Couple all of those power statistics, contact statistics, and just think he's struck out over 70 times once in his career. That was his first year in 2000.
But here are the other facets. You've got a guy who runs hard, no matter if he pops it up on the infield or trying to take extra bases. And you've got a guy who does all of that while maintaining a big presence in the community with charitable endeavors. He is the complete package as he pops it up, sprints down to first base, and Blum hauls it in. Let's go back to Tuesday and just give an example of what he did. You see the plate coverage on a pitch down and away. He rockets a double down into the left field corner, and then don't make a mistake up and in as he rides one out against the Pirates. But those are the easy ones. Those are the easy ones to see. The other ones are not so easy, and that is the hustle that he gives you and kind of the anti-Manny Ramirez, who doesn't run hard down to first base if he hits a ball that he doesn't like or if he thinks something is a sure out. Here's the 0-1 to Duncan. That's high, a ball and a strike.
Joe, Pujols is such a fault-free hitter that almost nothing to him is a mistake. You can't really categorize anything as a mistake because he hits balls that normal people make outs on. And he hits balls, he finds gaps with balls like that first breaking ball there low and away. You don't pull that ball. If you're a big, strong right-handed hitter, as Duncan goes down on strikes. But I mean, Pujols is so good that it's as though when you talk to opposing pitchers that, hey, he's going to hit the good pitches as well as he does the bad ones. So you can't even think about making a mistake to him because there's no such thing as a mistake to Pujols.
Here's Rick Ankiel now. He takes high, good 94-mile-an-hour fastball by Oswalt to get Duncan. Second strikeout. Ankiel was Roy's first victim back in the second inning. 2 out, nobody on, and a strike over the inside corner as the shadows start to creep across home plate and make their way toward the pitcher's mound. 1 ball, 1 strike. 2 out, nobody on, and Oswalt deals. Down and in. Beautiful day in St. Louis, the best weather day so far in 2009. The Cardinals, who have opened with their first week at home. That's out in front. The Astros open with their first 3 games at home against Chicago, lost 2 out of 3. It was that matchup between Oswalt and Zambrano, game 1. Oswalt was good, Zambrano was better. Here's a 2-2. Ankiel grounds one up the middle to the right of Matsui in a 2-out hit. Now Yadier Molina will bat with 1 on, 2 out. So Ankiel, the former Cardinal starter and pitcher, has settled into the center field position. He's been a powerful, productive hitter when healthy. Ended last year with an abdominal muscle pull that just shut down the second half of his season. But he's a free agent to be next year and probably will command high dollars on the free agent market. His agent is Scott Boras. History tells you that will happen. Ball 1 to Yadier Molina. 0 for 1 in this game and 4 for 17 this season. Strike 1. The career numbers for a guy who last year hit 300 and from the catcher's position, the first guy whose name isn't Ted Simmons to do that for the Cardinals since 1960.
Simba now the bench coach for the San Diego Padres, Bud Black. Boy, could he hit. Oof.
That's into right. That's Hunter Pence, and that's the end of the 4th. Good pitching matchup. Oswalt and Wainwright 1-0 St. Louis after 4. Time for the Astros to get something done. It's the top of the order for Houston. That means Matsui, Pence, and Berkman trying to break through against Wainwright, and that bunt is foul for strike 1. Matsui 1 for 2, has that hit back in the first inning, then was out stealing, which was a big defensive play. because a base hit and a walk followed, and then after Lee grounded out, Tejada struck out, and the Astros left their first 2 of 6 so far in this game. Talked to Cecil Cooper before the game. I said, boy, you got a good lineup, a lot of experience. He said, yeah, we just got to kind of break the tape and get it going. They will. But a slow start. Here's an 0-1. Strike 2. We had a chance to visit with Tony La Russa during the last inning and the break. We talked about Adam Wainwright and about his instructions to Yadier Molina. We'll try to get through after Matsui does something to start the inning, and another foul.
Not giving anything away either, but Tony, we did that interview a half inning ago, and he said the 5th inning would probably be the last inning for Wainwright. Sure enough, Cardinal bullpenners are loosening up. Jackets are off.
Where's the rest of the bench? Tony's by himself. Got a police officer down there. Joe Patini. They all walk out. The 0-2. Too far inside, ball 1. Actually, they're all out in the sunlight. It is a little chilly here in the shade. Here's a 1-2. Matsui strikes out on a pitch in the dirt. And Tony La Russa gave the reaction to Yadier Molina an inning ago when Oswalt was at the plate. And I asked him, were you telling Yadi to center up and make Wainwright throw strikes?
Yeah, they can hit the ball. They can hit the ball of the park. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, he just doesn't feel like he's entirely together, so he's not being aggressive enough.
And let's talk more specifically about Adam Wainwright. The stuff's there, obviously, and when he's throwing strikes, it's effective. But have you seen him go through a stretch like this where he's having a tough time with falling behind hitters?
Well, he hadn't been real sharp a lot this spring. I mean, he just doesn't have his delivery together yet. You know, timing's off, and what he does really, really well is when he gets into a problem, it all kind of clicks and he makes good pitches, men in scoring position. But, you know, he's probably got one more inning he can pitch, and that's not nearly enough.
What did you think of that bunt play that ended the 3rd inning?
Well, that's not Cardinal baseball. I just told Colby, I said, look, keep playing, concentrate on the game. We'll talk about that play later. I don't want to confuse him right now, but that's, you know, that's a base hit situation where an RBI, he's got to swing the bat, he's got Albert behind him. He can bunt for a hit, but not then.
Thanks for your time, Tony.
All right.
Tony La Russa, who has brought these Cardinals 7 division titles, a couple of pennants, and a world championship in his 13+ seasons as Cardinal manager. That was the bunt play by Rasmus and a breaking ball. Looks like Pence having a tough time seeing it, and we may get into that stretch now because of the late afternoon start where it is tough for these hitters to pick up the baseball.
April, first part of May in particular, before the days get longer.
Reaching for it. That's Brendan Ryan who gobbles it up, gets the out, 2 away. Getting to the 100 pitch mark is Adam Wainwright. So this will be it if he can get through the 5th inning, and then a long day's work for the Cardinal pen. Berkman will stand in with 2 out and nobody on. Lance has walked and struck out. Strike 1. Have you tweeted anything yet on Twitter, Tim?
Yeah, I did yesterday.
Let's not go into that, though.
No,
I heard what it was.
Don't go into that.
Just kind of throwing caution to the wind these days. I've tweeted twice.
I'm a technological fool, Joe Buck.
Since we've started, I've done it twice.
Oh, yeah?
Yes. I'm not going to say what I said because you have to go to Twitter to find out.
That's exactly right.
Be kind of counterproductive if I just said it.
Close to the vest.
We're going to use Twitter this season. You can stay connected to Fox Baseball. Give you how to do it after Berkman does something, or how about right now? He's going to do something, go back and get a new bat. Followers receive alerts to original video and columns posted on foxsports.com. Backstage photos. You can tell a non-sports person wrote this. And insights from the MLB announcers when we go backstage and put our pancake makeup on. You can tweet throughout the week. Follow us at twitter.com/MLB on Fox. Here's a 2-2 to Berkman with 2 out, nobody on, and a strikeout will probably end the day for Adam Wainwright. 4 strikeouts on the afternoon. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning in St. Louis. Cardinals bat up 1-0. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV. Shot of Union Station in downtown St. Louis as Joe Thurston is first up. And he lines another hit. He's 2 for 2. He scored the game's only run. He's got at least a double. Carlos Lee digs it out, and a good start to the 5th inning for St. Louis. And Joe Thurston is making the most of his opportunity. 29-year-old infielder who has bounced around in the minor leagues, had a few tastes of big league life. And as we said, he's part of a group of 3 filling the void left with the injury to Troy Glaus.
Yeah, the Cardinals this is their 6th game. They've had 3 different starting third basemen, and normally with your 8-spot hitter in the National League you don't bunt, but because Adam Wainwright is going to be out of the game, you may think about bunting here.
And Brendan Ryan shows it, didn't pull it back in time. That's strike 1. David Freese, who's one of the other third basemen, and a native St. Louisan, is on deck. He'll bat for Wainwright. And Jason Mott, who has tried to close games with no success to this point, is getting loose and would go out and work the 6th. And the bunt by Ryan is perfect. Oswalt makes the play, and the sacrifice sends Thurston to third base.
Tony La Russa candidly telling us that maybe the 6th or 7th inning would be better for Jason Mott. Sure enough, here he is up and throwing after blowing 2 save opportunities this past week, one of which was last night.
Yeah, he left with 2 on. Kyle McClellan got out of the jam last night. He wasn't so fortunate the first game of the season. Opening day, a frigid day here in St. Louis against the Pirates. Blew a 4-2 9th inning lead. And on Monday he gave up 4. It ended with Jack Wilson, the Pirates shortstop, after hitting Brandon Moss. Jack Wilson shot a 3-run double into the gap in left center, and the Pirates won the season opener. Runner at third, infield in, 1 out, and David Freese takes a fastball for strike 1. Freese grew up here in St. Louis, went to Lafayette High School, the same school that produced Ryan Howard, slugger for the Philadelphia Phillies. Pitches inside, a ball and a strike. And Freese was picked up from the Padres organization 2 off seasons ago when the Cardinals traded away outfielder Jim Edmonds. What a year Freese had last year at AAA, and now he goes into left center field. This ball is past the glove of Michael Bourne. In to score is Thurston, and it's 2-0 St. Louis.
Normally, we talked about the shadow at home plate, and normally it affects hitters, but rarely do you see it affect outfielders, but it would make sense that it would. Watch Michael Bourne going after this ball. He puts his glove up the first time, glove up the second time. There is the first time. Now the second time, he never saw that ball properly. Michael can normally track down fly balls, but he put the glove up, trying to find it the first time, trying to find it the second time. A double for Freese, and the Cardinals extend their lead.
Now a 94-mile-an-hour fastball is by the bat of Skip Schumacher, strike 1. So again, it's the bottom of the lineup. Thurston has scored both runs for St. Louis, and Wainwright now is on the bench. He'll watch the rest of it with all of us as Schumacher is in the hole 0-2. For Wainwright, he goes 5, allows no runs. 4 hits, he walked 3 and struck out 4. This could be Schumacher's last at bat. That's what will happen in the later innings for La Russa if he determines that he wants to go with defense. He has Freese in the game. He can put Freese at third, Thurston at second base, which is more his position, and either put Schumacher in left and take Duncan out, or take Schumacher out of the lineup. There are a lot of movable, changeable, interchangeable parts for La Russa here in 09 with the Cardinals.
All good points.
Breaking ball in the dirt. 2-2.
In Cardinal history, the only time a player has played 100 games in the outfield and the next season 100 games at second base. I think we talked about it earlier. Last time that happened was when Red Shandies did it, 45 and 46, and Red was just in the booth between innings. He said, I talked to Red about it before the game, and he said the war had kept a lot of the outfielders for the Cardinals, so they had to move the infielders to the outfield, and he was one of them.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Runner at second, 1 out. Oswalt nods yes, brings it to Schumacher and walks him. That's the second walk by Oswalt in this game.
That's a good at bat by Schumacher too. Down to 0-2 in the count, and coaxes a walk out of Oswalt.
And now Colby Rasmus. We heard Tony La Russa's reaction to Rasmus trying to bunt with a runner at second, 2 out. A play that ended the 3rd inning. He said that's not Cardinal baseball. I'll talk about it with him later. And this guy can hit. And he has 2 on, and he lines a base hit into left. That will load the bases with Pujols coming up. Freese is held at third, and a base hit for Rasmus, his first of the day. And now a matchup, Tim, between Roy Oswalt and Albert Pujols. The best from one side against the best from the other, and these two have hooked up plenty. In fact, Albert Pujols has 6 home runs against Roy Oswalt, 2 in postseason play. The 6 home runs covering the regular season and postseason, tied for the most against any pitcher. The 04 NLCS Game 4, the 2-run shot, a solo shot in 05 when the Astros won that series. And Pujols will deal with Roy Oswalt here with the bases loaded, only 1 out.
Pujols with the famous, now famous, home run against Brad Lidge in Game 5 of the 2005 NLCS. And then the Cardinals came back to St. Louis, and Oswalt shut them down. You were a spectator at the game that night, said it was just overpowering.
Overpowering. Bases loaded, 1 out, and Pujols gets him again. Wow. Grand slam.
Before this swing, Cardinal fans were seated.
Knocks one into Big Mac land. Ooh. All in support of Adam Wainwright, who I'm sure by his own admission after the game will tell you he wasn't all that sharp, but now he stands to be the winner. If the Cardinals can hang on to what is a 6-0 lead. Duncan takes a strike. And now what La Russa has is the perfect scenario as you get past Duncan in the lineup, and if you want to take Duncan out and put Schumacher in the outfield and add to your infield defense, you can go that route as well. That ball's outside, and the count 2-1 on Chris Duncan, who is 0 for 2.
Rick Hummel is a buddy of both of ours, and he's been writing for the Post-Dispatch for a long time, and he was saying the other day that Colby Rasmus carries Albert Pujols' checkerboard around when they're on the road. And I asked Colby last night, I said, why do you do that? He said, because he asked me to. And I do everything Pujols asked me to. And that swing is the reason that Rasmus carries his checkerboard on the road.
I'd say Wainwright may carry it on the next trip. A strikeout of Duncan, and that's the third of the day for Oswalt. So there's Colby Rasmus, the kid in this lineup. And he's in charge of Albert's entertainment on the road with his checkerboard. Here's Ankiel, pops it up. Might stay in play right side, foul territory. Berkman has room, and the baseball, the inning is over, but not before another from Albert Pujols, his second of the year. And in a blink, 6-0 Cardinals. Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV, is sponsored by Windows, Life Without Walls, by Hyundai, Assurance Plus, because in times like these, we're all in this together. And by Just for Men, stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Mott works in a hurry. We only got through one billboard. And Lee, who's up there pumping, fouls it away. What an interesting study Jason Mott is, and where he sits already in the opening week of the season. He's pitching in the 6th inning to try to get things squared away and to try to calm down a little bit coming out of the Cardinal bullpen.
Yeah, it seems very early for a young pitcher to get things straightened out. But you know, when you think about it, a stopper for a young player has got to be the toughest position to break into the major leagues as, because of the finality.
Here's a ground ball up the middle, and it's going to sneak through for a base hit.
I mean, when a stopper comes in, usually it's in the 9th inning. So you get outs number 25, 26, and 27. And everybody knows how difficult it is and what an important thing it is. And there's really it's a do or die type thing, and most young players are not used to playing in the big leagues with the games on the line like stoppers are.
A ton of pressure for a guy who started his pro career as a catcher, so he's still learning how to pitch. But you can see he's got good stuff. He throws in the mid to high 90s, and this is an opportunity with a 6-0 lead to start working on some other pitches as Tejada lines one into center. Back is Ankiel, 1 on 1 out. Mott has a slider. This all came about with Mott trying to close games. They have another young man named Chris Perez who started the year at AAA because the Cardinal front office did not go get a closer. Cardinals have had 33 blown saves between this year and last. That's the most in Major League Baseball. It was an obvious hole that the Cardinals did not go out and fill outside the organization, so they tried to do it with kids. There's no doubt that eventually this kid is going to be that style pitcher.
I think so. If he gets downward movement on that slider's a dangerous pitch for him right now because it's on one level. That's what he was hurt with John Mozeliak, the general manager of the Cardinals. That slider, it's a tough pitch on which to depend when you come to the big leagues unless it has downward movement. His right now doesn't.
Counts 2-1 on Jeff Blum. Talking to La Russa, he said you want to have a guy like Mata Perez grow into that role as opposed to, here you go, Jason, you're the closer.
Yeah.
Dodgers had that luxury last year with Jonathan Broxton, who's now their closer. Last year they had Saito, who's now with Boston. Now Broxton is the closer, but it's a lot to ask. And so far, Mott has had a tough go of it. And what an opportunity here in the 6th inning to get a scoreless inning under his belt or a solid inning under his belt and try and work from there.
Another example is Mariano Rivera, perhaps the greatest reliever, the greatest stopper in the history of the game. He was a setup man for John Wetland back in 1996. Wetland moved on. Rivera became the stopper from '97 and has had a remarkable career. And that's an example of how you can work into that role. But it's tough to start out right there.
There's a strikeout of Jeff Blum, and that's out number 2 here in the 6th.
Good fastball from Mott.
Not only is this a good opportunity for Mott to work on his secondary pitch, but he can just challenge hitters up by 6 runs in the middle innings and not have to try and be perfect, where one pitch can kill you. 1 on, 2 out. Ivan Rodriguez takes a strike that's on the outside corner. You can see Mott is one of those high energy relievers who gets it hopping around out on the mound. I think one of the objectives is for him to calm down a little bit, whether it's warming up or out there on the mound in the game. That's high. 1 ball, 1 strike. A 1-1. Breaking ball that stayed inside. 2-1. On deck is Michael Bourne. Ivan Rodriguez has a hit in this game. He's 5 for 18 so far on the season, and he comes up late. 2-2. Leadoff hit up the middle by Carlos Lee. Then Tejada fly to center. Blum struck out looking, and Ivan Rodriguez waits for a 2-2 pitch. Just missed the outside corner. Good pitch, and it's a full count. Lee goes, and a strikeout. Gone is Ivan Rodriguez. He is 1 for 3 on the day, and Mott pitches a scoreless 6th. 6-0 St. Louis. Fox Saturday Baseball is presented by DirecTV and sponsored by Windows Life Without Walls. By Hyundai Assurance Plus, because in times like these, we're all in this together. And by Just for Men. Stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. This game goes into the bottom of the 6th inning, and Roy Oswalt, who gave up the grand slam to Pujols last inning, watches Yadier Molina try and tee off. Strike 1. Oswalt is in danger of starting this season 0-2. And the Astros are in danger of starting this season 1-4. And dropping the first 2 games of this 3-game set here in St. Louis. Molina hitless on the day. He's grounded out to short, fly to right. Joe Thurston and Brendan Ryan will follow, and a ground ball up the middle to his right. Matsui can't get to it. Molina's on to start this 6th. Stars all over the place. Next Saturday, a doubleheader on Fox. Biggest names in sports take to the field and the track. Special time 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Fox Saturday baseball. Cubs and the Cardinals in the headline game, and NASCAR in the desert. Sprint Cup leader Jeff Gordon points the field toward the checkered flag in Phoenix. Don't miss a huge day in sports next Saturday, only on Fox. 1 on, nobody out, and Thurston has gone the opposite way in every at bat. He's 2 for 2, and now he fouls one left side. Strike 1. So who knew? Troy Gloss went down. Issue with a muscle near his right shoulder. Had exploratory surgery that happened in January, and they thought maybe by the end of April, maybe even optimistically speaking, the beginning of April, he could come back. And now they've sent him out to Phoenix to rehab, and they really haven't put an exact timetable on when he will be back and available to Tony La Russa and the Cardinals. Guy who had 99 RBIs last year and hit 27 home runs in his first year as a Cardinal. Strike 2 on Thurston.
Also, Joe, that third base position was once viewed as a position of permanence in baseball. I mean, you had third basemen with organizations for many years. Kenny Boyer with the Cardinals, Brooks Robinson with the Orioles, Eddie Matthews with the Braves. But it's almost as though the third base position has become a transient position. You look at the problems the Astros have had. They wanted Aaron Boone to play third base, and now Jeff Blum is being platooned at third base. The Cardinals have had 3 different starters at third over the first 6 games of the season. Thurston, one of them. But you can look throughout major league rosters and see that happen. I mean, few and far between are the guys like Aramis Ramirez with the Cubs, David Wright of the New York Mets. Third base is almost like a platoon utility position in this day and age, and I'm not really sure how that changed and when it changed or why it changed.
Well, I think one of the reasons, it just strikes me right off the top of my head, is that the shortstop position became more of a power position. Think of a guy like Cal Ripken Jr. was kind of the first guy to come along, or Miguel
Alex
Tejada,
Rodriguez,
A-Rod. You know, even Jeter is more of a productive type hitter from the shortstop spot as opposed to all glove no hit. So you can maybe get away with another infield position that isn't, you know, your primary power source other than first base, and that's kind of stayed that power position with the bat over the years. Here's a 1-2 pitch to Thurston. Everything's been to the left side, and the count stays 1-2.
I mean, Casey Blake as another example. We're doing Cleveland and the Yankees next week. Casey Blake was a third baseman for the Indians for a long time. He goes to Los Angeles. He ends up in left field, playing some games in left. Last year, Blake DeWitt becomes a third baseman. But the position is almost in a state of flux now. And there's Khalil Green, who is a terrific pickup by the Cardinals, and is going to win a lot of ball games for this franchise if he stays healthy.
Yeah, they're excited about what he's done. Swinging the bat in particular after a down year last year. Everything has been over to the lab. Dennis Reyes is getting loose for St. Louis in their pen, and there is action now for Houston in their bullpen. The lefty Wesley Wright. Thurston pulls one. Good pickup by Berkman. Steps on for the out. Down to second for the double play on the tag. Brilliantly turned by Berkman, and then Tejada staying with Molina past the bag.
You'll never see a better double play turned from 3 to 6. Molina coming off the bag and staying with the tag is Tejada. Boy, that's terrific.
Talk about Berkman, who first started as an outfielder when we were comparing Berkman and Mantle. He has settled in at first base, has great hands, obviously, with what he can do with a bat. And now Brendan Ryan shoots one into left center field. Lee makes the play. It's a 2-out hit. But Berkman really showed off those hands on that pickup, and then Tejada did the same on the back end of that play. And here comes Khalil Green to bat for Mott. And Mott gives St. Louis a scoreless sixth. Strike one from Roy Oswalt. There's Wesley Wright. Khalil Green hit over 400 during the spring, and an opening day found himself batting cleanup. For a guy who hit in the low 200s last year, production, the power was way down. Heck, a couple of years ago, 07 hit 27 home runs, just 10 last year.
In a very difficult ballpark in which to hit home runs, that's San Diego.
Down and away, 2 balls, 2 strikes on Green. Cardinals last year had Cesar Izturis as their shortstop. They went to the higher priced Khalil Green, who is a more productive hitter and a good defensive shortstop. 2-2 pitch. Checked his swing on one up and in, full count, and Brendan Ryan will take off on the next delivery. Crisp day in St. Louis as Ryan takes off on strike 3 to Khalil Green. The inning is over. Into the 7th we go. Still 6-0 St. Louis. Back after this from your local Fox station. Welcome back to Fox Saturday Baseball, presented by DirecTV. Follow your favorite MLB team no matter where you live with DirecTV. First up for Houston is Michael Bourne. Then a pinch hitter will bat against Dennis Reyes. Bourne so far 0 for 1. He's walked, he's grounded out. That was against Adam Wainwright, who stands to be the winner if the St. Louis bullpen can hang on. It's 6-0, 7th inning. Jason Michaels waits to hit next, and a strike on Bourne. Houston bench is on Jerry Crawford, who's screaming back at the Houston bench. And a 1-2 pitch is down and away to Bourne. Crawford's got one eye on Reyes in the strike zone and the other eye on the Astros bench. And now ball 3 from Reyes, who has a save this week, his first week in the regular season in a Cardinal uniform. A nice addition to this St. Louis bullpen. A late addition, and the count's still full. Reyes very good in his career against left-handed hitting. Guys are hard to find, and the Cardinals got one late. And Reyes looks in, started to work, and Bourne had stepped out.
Usually if you find a left-hander who's effective against left-handed hitters, it's because their ball tails inside the left-handers like that.
To the right side, Pujols has to win that race, and that's no given with Bourne running one out. Boys and Girls Clubs of America is the official charity of MLB, reaching more than 4 million kids worldwide. Together they create a positive place for kids. One out, and here is Jason Michaels. We've seen Michaels in the big leagues with Philadelphia, with Cleveland, and now he's with the Astros. And looking for his first hit, 0 for 2 so far to start the year. 1 out, nobody on. Michaels takes a strike. Reyes got the save here for St. Louis on Thursday against the Pirates, a game that Chris Carpenter started. Carpenter allowed 1 hit through 7 and got the victory. 2 quick strikes on Jason Michaels. And the 05 Cy Young Award winner Chris Carpenter got his first win since Game 3 of the 06 World Series on Thursday afternoon when he beat the Pirates. 0-2 pitch, down and in.
I asked a very pensive Tony La Russa the other day about Chris Carpenter. I said, would it be an overstatement to say that Chris Carpenter is the most important player to this club that there is in the National League as Michaels goes down on strikes? And Tony said no, it wouldn't. That Carpenter was the most important player to separate the Cardinals from a team that does not make the playoff and a team that has a shot at the playoffs. And that's how important he is to this ball club.
Yeah, they would seem to need 30-plus starts out of Chris Carpenter to have a legitimate chance against the rest of this division, which looks to be better than it has been in years past. I think Cincinnati is better. We talked about Pittsburgh being better, and I think the class of the division is probably in Chicago again, the team that won it the last couple of years. Tony La Russa's club last year finished in 4th place. There's a strike from Reyes, and the count 0-2 on Matsui. And Carpenter, who was 51-18 between 2004 and 2006. He's had a couple of procedures on his pitching elbow, and he looked very good here on Thursday. Matsui off the end of the bat, center field, and Keel, and a quick and easy 7th for Dennis Reyes. We go to the bottom half. Time to stretch here in St. Louis. Top of the order coming up, and the Cardinals lead it 6-zip. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV, sponsored by Applebee's. It's a whole new neighborhood. By Prescription Flomax and by Bank of America. Want to show the world it's not like it's love? Get MLB banking only from Bank of America. It's not like it's love. Bank of America.
B of A.
Here's Schumacher first up against the left-hander Wesley Wright. And a strike. Second game of the season for Wesley Wright. And the next is Schumacher, who has an RBI ground out, a walk, and a run scored. He is down and away, 1 ball, 1 strike. Wright will face Rasmus to follow, and then Albert Pujols. Here's a 1-1. Schumacher off to a .333 start, shatters his bat, no chance for Tejada. And the first hit of the day for Schumacher. And we give you our DirecTV game break. Probably your favorite MLB team, no matter where you live, with DirecTV. Napoli has 2 home runs. Here's his second. Came in the bottom of the 5th off Brad Penny, made it 3-2 Angels, but Jason Bay just went deep off Saunders. 2-run shot, 4-3 Boston, 8th inning. As the Red Sox trying to put things together after losing last night to a Los Angeles Angels team that is playing under tough circumstances.
Well, certainly understating things, saying they're playing with heavy hearts. Boy, that's just horrible.
Playing after the loss of their teammate and friend, 22-year-old Nick Adenhart. Rasmus fights it off and gets a base hit over Blum. 2 on with nobody out. And Rasmus is 2 for 3.
Now, if you're Wesley Wright, you're thinking, I waited 7 innings for this. Come in, I break a bat, base hit. I jam a hitter, base hit. Now I got to face this guy. Off the handle. And Blum, not quite.
So Blum did all he could not get back or up enough to haul that in, and now 2 on with nobody out for Albert Pujols, who hit a grand slam his last time up. 24-year-old right-hander Wesley Wright is ready, and Pujols takes ball 1 high. Wesley last year got into 71 games for Houston, had an ERA over 5, a record of 4-3. All of that work out of the bullpen. Pujols, another RBI opportunity. Takes just outside. Good pitch. Counts 2-0.
You were talking about this earlier. The fact that Lance Berkman would swing at pitches like this, distinguishing between Berkman and Pujols. Albert takes those pitches that are just off the plate. Unbelievable eyesight.
Down the right field line, slicing into the corner. Pence gives it a look, and it's into the seats, out of play. 2-1. Pujols now on the season with 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, and his average is 400.
Yeah, we used to talk about in baseball hand-eye coordination, and then I think somebody prudently came up with a better term, and that's pitch identification. Not only the type of pitch it is, but where it's located on the plate. And this guy is astonishing in that regard as he swings at a ball out of the strike zone.
2-2.
You know, he's going to do this occasionally, but not much.
Runners at first and second, nobody out, and a 2-2 pitch. Pujols shoots it down the left field line. It is gone. A 3-run home run for Albert Pujols, and a 7 RBI day. He's had more than 1 home run in 1 ball game, and it's the 5th time he's done that against Houston.
Well, we run out of superlatives.
The 7 RBIs tie career high for Pujols. Strike 1 to Duncan. It was definitely hard enough. The only question was it high enough, and was it inside the pole? And it was. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's got you shaking your head already. It's only April 11th.
I know it. I know. I mean, the guy can't help but think what you'd do if you were behind the plate. You had to call pitches for a guy like that. I mean, there's no vulnerable part of his swing. There's no stride. We talked about that earlier. You can't. There's no off-speed pitch. He keeps the ball inside fair.
Duncan gets a base hit through the right side, and Wesley Wright has been greeted with 4 straight hits.
This ball got out of here in a hurry.
Still nobody out in the inning. Duncan is on, and Rick Ankiel takes a ball. We could make this a complete love fest and continue to talk about what Pujols does in the community here in St. Louis, and it's
certainly worthwhile.
Yeah, it's a worthy conversation.
Absolutely.
He, like Berkman of the Houston Astros and so many players in Major League Baseball, very aware of their potential and their power to reach so many and get a message out. And for Albert Pujols, whether it's the work that he's done for and with children afflicted with Down syndrome, or what he has done with his Make-A-Wish Day, he doesn't slow down off the field either. September 24th last year, right here, he had his annual Make-A-Wish event. Includes a meet and greet with Albert and other players, Tony La Russa, a guided tour of the clubhouse by Albert Pujols, and a visit to the broadcast booth. And he is one of those guys that the more you get to know him, the more you like him.
He's the real deal.
Last year's Roberto Clemente Award winner for the work he has done off the field. So another hit. Rick Ankiel gets his second of the day. Wesley Wright will continue to pitch, and he will deal with Yadier Molina, who's the sixth batter of the inning. 4 singles so far, with a 3-run Pujols home run right in the middle of it all. Strike one. So Cecil Cooper still waiting for his group to kick it into gear, and it is not happening here on Saturday afternoon, the 11th of April. The 0-1. Another base hit, another one through the right side. They hold Duncan at third, and that is 6 consecutive hits to start the 7th.
First 2, we talked about it, by Schumacher, who broke his bat, and then Rasmus, who was jammed. But then that thunder of Pujols, and then 3 straight singles, loads him up. Still nobody out.
And now Joe Thurston, who is 2 for 3. Thurston last year was an all-star in the International League, playing AAA baseball as a second baseman in the Red Sox organization. That's a bad place to be when you're behind Dustin Pedroia at the big league level. And so now here he is in the Cardinal organization, playing third, some second, and getting a chance to play as the pitch is up and away. Talk about the moving parts. Thurston has made the start at third. Freese has been a pinch hitter today, and the Cardinals had their lineup put together without last year's all-star Ryan Ludwig in the mix. He's on the bench. Thurston right back up the middle. Everybody moves up 90 feet, and it becomes 10-0 here in the 7th. And poor Wesley Wright had this start with a broken bat base hit, then a little blooper off the bat of Rasmus, and it looks like Wright is out there and going to be left on his own. Now the Astros are going to get somebody loose, as Brendan Ryan checked his swing on ball 1.
It's Jim Leland who's made the comment that in postseason, not talking about the Astros in particular here, but about Wesley Wright, that in the postseason it's not necessarily the bullpen that's the most effective, but the bullpen that is the healthiest. And sometimes guys have to take one for the team, as Chris Sampson is up and throwing. It looks like Wesley Wright is that guy today. One of those unfortunate things in a blowout that you have to suffer through.
There's a strike on the inside corner. It's Ryan now with Brian Barden on deck. Two and two on Ryan. There's Barden, who got the game-winning RBI on Thursday for St. Louis against Pittsburgh. 2 balls, 2 strikes as Wright would love a double play ball. Bases loaded, nobody out. And a strikeout. Wright will take that for the first out here in the 7th. Well, all season long, we will be wearing these pins to support the Michael J. Fox Foundation for Parkinson's research. The Michael J. Fox Foundation is dedicated to finding a cure for Parkinson's through an aggressive research program. To learn more, please visit michaeljfox.org. Here's Barden pinch hitting. Batting for Reyes, who worked a scoreless 7th, and the first one is high for ball 1. Here comes a 1-0 with the bases loaded, 1 out. Ground ball to second. Matsui backing up. They turn it. Well done by Houston. 4-6-3 with Matsui to Tejada and on to first. What a day for Pujols. A grand slam early, and here in this 7th, a 3-run shot. 10-0 Cardinals. Into the 8th we go. New pitcher for St. Louis is Brad Thompson. He'll work the 8th inning. It's 10-0 Cardinals. Joe Thurston moves from third base to second base, now dealing with a son. Brian Barden stays in the game after pinch hitting. He's at third, and Skip Schumacher back to the familiar territory that is left field. Hunter Pence finds Barden. 1 pitch, 1 out. So here's game number 3 for Brad Thompson in this 2009 season. And he will pitch to Lance Berkman. Who is hitless in this game with a pair of strikeouts. Last time he struck out, it's a final batter that Adam Wainwright faced, and Adam Wainwright, who pitched the first 5 innings, allowed no runs, 4 hits, did walk 3, struck out 4, stands to be the winner. Last year was 11-3. 65 games on the DL with a right middle finger sprain, and he came back, pitched well, and he is about to start this season 1-0.
You know, it's going to be a bad day for your pitching staff when you're facing a team that has sent 3 consecutive pinch hitters for the pitchers in 3 straight innings. That's what the Cardinals have done in the 5th, 6th, and 7th.
Freeze, Green, and then Barden. That pitch misses. Ball 3, 3-1. Carlos Lee on deck. Berkman trying to reach base for the 2nd time today. Takes a strike over the inside part. And the count now full. Thompson deals and Berkman walks. 1 on, 1 out, and we give you the Bank of America fan cam on a bright, crisp day in St. Louis. If you want to show the world it's not like, it's love, get MLB banking only from Bank of America. And a good day for a sweatshirt despite the sunshine. Here's a ball to Carlos Lee. Lee has a hit, a walk. He's grounded out. Tapper, third base side, a bare hand pickup by Barton, and he gets the out.
Takes Carlos Lee a long time to get to first base.
I mean,
and Barton makes the play.
You just have that clock going in your head, and you saw that play unfold, and you think Barton, first of all, is going to put it in his pocket.
Right.
And then he throws and he gets the out for out number 2 here in the 8th. There's a big man running down the first baseline. Good play by Barton. 2 out. Here's Tejada. Miguel 0 for 3. Struck out, flied out twice. Runner at second, 2 down, and a strike from Brad Thompson.
You're the Astros, though. The one thing you can say over a 162 game season is it's just one game. You can't say that in football when there are 16 played in a season.
Well, I think we come out of watching college football, college basketball, the NFL, where one game can ruin a season.
Yeah,
a couple of bad games, and you think, oh, the whole season just flipped around. And in the NFL, we went from a wild card spot out of the playoff picture. In baseball, I mean, you got to put it into perspective where we are in the season. And right now, the Astros are looking at a 1-4 start, but this is a better team than their record would indicate. And once they get into a groove, then things will turn around. It is a long, long season, and we get reminded of that once, I would say, June rolls around, and then you get to the All-Star break. You're only halfway there. It's a long year. The 2-2 pitch, a strikeout for Thompson. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. We'll talk about the upcoming All-Star game when we come back. Fox Saturday Baseball presented by DirecTV, sponsored by AT&T. Your world delivered by Napa Auto Parts. Napa, get the good stuff. And by State Farm, where great coverage means great rates. Time for the Just for Men hold leaders. Just as these relievers keep their team in the game, you too can stay in the game with Just for Men hair color. Shields, last year, one of the best, one of the unsung heroes in any bullpen with 31 holds. Kyle McClellan, the rookie last year for the Cardinals. Carlos Marmol of the Cubs, thought he might be the closer, and Dan Wheeler of the Tampa Bay Rays. Marmol instead is still going to set up for Kevin Gregg, who's blown a couple of opportunities the first week of the season. New catcher in the ball game is Quintero, and LaTroy Hawkins, hard-throwing right-hander who we have seen wearing a number of different uniforms, is in the game on the mound. 0-1 pitch to Schumacher, drives him off the dish. Ball and a strike. Schumacher has 1 hit, 1 RBI, and 2 runs scored. Schumacher grounds another hit up the middle. On base for the 3rd time in a row. We look back at the All-Star games that have been held here in St. Louis. 1940, 1948, 1957. 2 ballparks ago. And then in the first year of the last Busch Stadium, prior to this one, the 1966 All-Star game. And who was that dashing young man sliding across the plate with a game-winning run in the 10th inning? It was Tim McCarver. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and you scored on a hit by Maury Wills, and we'll be here July 14th this year, this park, the 2009 Major League Baseball All-Star game.
And there is no way it will be hotter on July 14th here in St. Louis than it was that day in 1966.
The old quote by Casey Stengel. It was the first year of the ballpark in downtown St. Louis, that one, and they said, what do you think of the new park, Casey? And he said, I will say it holds the heat well.
Sandy Koufax's last All-Star game, he started and went 3 innings of shutout ball.
Here's a 1-1. Late swing and a miss by Rasmus. Strike 2.
Joe Torre caught 8 innings of that game. And I remember going into the dugout at the old stadium about, I guess 200 or 300 yards from here. And I said, "How you holding up?" He said, "I've only taken 12 salt tablets." And at that time, we thought salt tablets were good for you. And obviously, it's been determined since then that they are not good for you. They're the worst things in the world for you. Joe had gone through a dozen salt tablets.
Pitches in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We're going to go back in time and listen to that call. In 1966, after Colby Rasmus does something to start this, or to back up that hit by Skip Schumacher. He started it with a single. Jason LaRue, you saw, is in the on-deck circle. Here's a 2-2 from Hawkins, and a strikeout by LaTroy Hawkins, and a good 93-mile-an-hour fastball. And here's that last call from 1966.
Pete Rickard checks the runner at second base, then fires, and Wills flashes a line single into right center field. Here comes McCarver around third. He scores, and the National League wins 2-1. Coach Harry Walker, who waved McCarver in, leads the swarm of National Leaguers.
How about that? Was the slide necessary? Can I ask you that?
Yes, it was.
You're out of gas.
When in doubt, get down.
1 on, 1 out. And a strike.
I had an 8x10 of Walter Alston, Willie McCovey, Willie Mays, Gaylord Perry, all with congratulations and all that, and I no longer have it. I don't know what happened to it.
Oh.
It's terrible. I know it.
Here's strike 2. Here he comes.
Not necessarily graceful. Just get it done.
You could run.
Felipe Alou.
How many? What was your record for stolen bases in a season?
13, I think. Yep.
You're the one guy who played Major League Baseball who doesn't ever want to talk about it. Let it go. Live it. Go back in time. There's a pitch that just missed. Ball one. Enjoy this. 1966 All-Star game.
But it's over, and it's been over for a long time.
A 105-degree day. And as we all know, in this city, it can get awfully humid. Later, when they had turf that just soaked in that heat.
That's right. That was grass that year.
Left side, slow roller. Tejada out at second on the force out. Runner at first, 2 out, and Brad Thompson will bat. By the way, your career high for stolen bases in a season was 9.
Oh, was? Well, that's part of being retired for 30 years is inflation. We're used to that in this economic age. Come on. 9 becomes 13 after a while.
61 for your career.
Yeah.
Caught 49 times.
Well,
they didn't put the brakes on you enough. 1 ball, no strikes.
Our manager, Red Shandy, if you think you could steal it, steal it.
It is something that we actually talked about a couple of years ago with Don Zimmer and Joe Torre about how this game is so controlled by the dugouts that the instincts and the natural reactions by players sometimes get lost because they're always looking for what to do instead of determining and judging for themselves what to do on the base.
Yeah, to the detriment of the game. Base running such a vital part of the game.
That's low. 2-1.
Seems as though as the major league hitters become so powerful, they think that once they've swung the bat that their job is over. But it's really just beginning. Their trip around the bases.
There's strike two on Thompson.
Excuse me, Joe, unless you're Albert Pujols and you can walk around the bases, as he's done twice today.
Rick Ankiel on deck. 2-2 pitch and a foul ball up the first baseline.
I wonder if that was Brad Thompson's bat. Most pitchers, particularly relievers, don't have bats. It's infuriating for regulars to come out and see one of their best bats the next day that a reliever is used and broken. Does not make guys happy.
This one doesn't have many marks on it. Doesn't look like it's been used much. A 2-2. Down and away. It looks like it's right out of the box. No pine tar, no nothing. 3-2 pitch. Runner at first. LaRue will take off, and a little flare into left center field. New bat. Base hit. First and third with 2 out as Thompson gets his first of the year. That's number 50. I think 50's Wainwright, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. At least Brad used another pitcher's bat. So it would only make sense. Wainwright will be the winner of this game. Thompson clunks one in there.
Here's Ankiel. Hawkins deals, and Ankiel ready to hammer, fouls one straight back. LaTroy Hawkins for Houston. Third pitcher of the day. Here's an 0-1, first and third, 2 out. Quintero keeps it at the plate. Now we'll go out and talk to LaTroy Hawkins. 1 ball, 1 strike. Reminder, next week, doubleheader action. 2 different sports. We'll have baseball for you in the late afternoon. It includes the Cardinals at the Cubs. All of this with our new time at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, 12:30 Pacific. And the Subway Fresh Fit 500 in Phoenix will follow baseball as Ankiel grounds one to the right side. Berkman knocks it down, throws it away. In to score is LaRue, and it's 11-0 St. Louis.
Nice play by Lance Berkman. I think this would be scored, or should be scored, a hit. No error on the play. Fine play by Berkman to get to the ball, and the throw was wide, but too much to do, so it's a base hit for Ankiel and an RBI.
The Cardinals now have 19 hits. 11 runs on 19 hits. 2 big ones. Grand slam and a 3-run home run by Albert Pujols. Here is Yadier Molina. Strike 1. Lead runner is now Thompson at second. The Astros in the 9th inning will have the bottom part of their lineup: Blum, Rodriguez, and Bourne. 6, 7, 8 hitters against Thompson, who has a base hit in this inning, which led to the 11th run. The 0-1. Blocked by Quintero. He came up but kept the ball at his feet. 1-1. Second time in 5 games that the Astros have given up 11 runs in a ball game.
Ooh.
And they did it today with Roy Oswalt starting the ball game. Oswalt pitched the first 6 and allowed 6 runs. Here's a 2-1 pitch back to Hawkins. Stabs it, flips it, and we go to the 9th inning. Last chance for the Astros. They're now down 11-0 here in St. Louis. Jason LaRue will end this game at first base. Pujols started it there. LaRue got the at bat in the last half inning, and Brad Thompson goes back to work. Here's Jeff Blum, 11-0. And now the Astros are in a position where here in the first week of the season they will have lost 2 games started by their ace, Roy Oswalt. They are counting on a big season from Roy Oswalt, and a guy who is counted on year after year for just that, and he delivers for Houston. Now Blum is on with his first hit of the day, and that's how the 9th inning starts. And here's Quintero. So Humberto Quintero will get the at bat, looking for his first hit. And Quintero will, after taking over the last half inning, they're trying to get as much rest for Ivan Rodriguez as they can. 1 on with nobody out, and a breaking ball is down and away. Ball 1 from Thompson. That's foul. 1-1. Astros and the Cardinals will complete this series tomorrow afternoon. When Wandy Rodriguez, the young left-hander, take on Kyle Loesch. And it's off to Pittsburgh for Houston. Strike 2. Pittsburgh took it to the Cincinnati Reds today. Jason Bay has a couple of home runs for Boston. The Angels trail 5-4 in the 9th inning there, and the Los Angeles Angels have 2 on with 2 out. Trying to come from behind and win that game. Boston hangs on. They will have split the first 2 games of that series with 1 to go tomorrow. On 1-2, a shattered bat. Ryan has only 1 play, out at first. Runner at second, 1 out. In case you're just joining us here in the late afternoon, early evening, this is what you missed. It's 11-0 St. Louis. Albert Pujols, 2 home runs, a grand slam, a 3-run shot. The 7 RBIs tie a career high. Joe Thurston is getting an opportunity at third base and around the infield for St. Louis. 3 hits. And Tim's word of the day, aplomb.
Oh, me.
Here's Michael Bourne. Runner at second, 1 out, and 1 ball, 1 strike from Brad Thompson. What would this truck and our production do without Brian Biederman and Wayne Fiddleman down in the truck? 2-1.
They're beauties. They're our guys.
Biederman's definitely your guy. Pete Macheska's guy. The 2-1 pitch. Inside, 3-1. Again, in case you're like most of us, and I include myself, a clone.
Come on.
Imperturbable self-possession, poise, or assurance. Here's Bourne shooting one into right field. Back is Rasmus, and this ball short hops the wall. Blum will cruise around third and score. Rasmus has trouble picking up the baseball, and it's an RBI triple for Michael Bourne, who with one more false reach for the ball by Rasmus and right might have circled the bases. It's 11-1 here in the ninth inning.
Ball hit the base of the wall, and as you said, of course, if you're Blum, you're going to hold up and then walk home once you see it's over his head. So a triple for Michael Bourne.
And now Jason Smith comes off the bench and bats in the number 9 spot. That'll close the book on Hawkins, who goes 1 inning, allows 1 run on 3 hits. Strike 2 on Jason Smith. Kaz Matsui on deck. Smith pokes one into left center field, slicing to the left fielder Schumacher, who makes the catch in the sunshine. A sac fly, and it's 11-2. Bases are empty, 2 out. Smith gets the RBI. It's a 9-run game, and the next hitter for the Astros, Kaz Matsui. Thompson's first is a breaking ball strike. The next to Matsui, right side, Thurston. A little juggle. Game over. St. Louis wins it 11-2. A game that was dominated by the guy who just left the dugout, number 5. Who also picks up a walkie-talkie. He does it all. The audio guy dropped a walkie-talkie, and Pujols has it in his left hand. We'll come back and wrap up our day in St. Louis right after this. 11-2 is the final. The Cardinals beat Houston, and St. Louis now with a record of 4-2. The Astros with a 1-4 start. Tonight on Fox, don't miss a full hour of Cops, followed by an all-new America's Most Wanted. Then next Saturday, it's a great sports doubleheader, beginning with baseball at our special time, 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central. Then it's primetime NASCAR action from Phoenix, the Subway Fresh Fit 500. That's all next Saturday on Fox. Check local listings for the baseball game in your area. Promotional consideration provided by And for more information on today's game and for the latest info on Major League Baseball, log on to foxsports.com, powered by MSN, the world's favorite sports site. For Tim, I'm Joe. So long from St. Louis. A 7 RBI day for Pujols. Good night.